We begin tonight in Ogoniland, where President Bola Tinubu has asked leaders and stakeholders to put behind past grievances so as to support efforts in restoring the environment and remediating polluted lands in their community. President Bola Tinubu made this call as he received leaders and elders from Rivers State to chart a way forward towards the clean of Ogoniland. That's the cleanup of Ogoniland. Amadin Uyi reports.
They arrived at the State House in their numbers, leaders of thought from several walks of life in Rivers State. The meeting was chaired by President Bola Tinubu, with several cabinet ministers in attendance, the National Security Advisor, and the Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara.
Let me thank Mr. President for bringing us here, and we will be very patient to listen to you and to adhere to your instructions.
The presence of this delegation is a testament to the Ogoni people's readiness to engage constructively in the pursuit of peace, justice, and sustainable development. Their willingness to participate in this dialogue reflects a shared hope for meaningful progress and enduring solutions.
Let us put the grievances of the past aside. It cannot heal the wounds if we continue to be angry. I know what to do in the memory of our beloved ones so that their sacrifices will not be in vain.
Nigeria's Minister of Environment says that much has been achieved by the current administration, especially in its efforts to restore the environment in Ogoniland, situated in Rivers State through remediation efforts.
This administration has been doing very well because the project has been there for over 5 years. It's this administration and the commitment of the president that have gone so far. And I can give you some statistics. Number one is that when we came in, only one water project was commissioned. But as I'm talking to you now, 8 have been commissioned. So 7 have been commissioned under the administration of the president, our president, Bola Tinubu. In the area of remediation, what is the most important area we are trying to address, we have done about 36 sites. They have been completed and they have been certified as environmentally conducive for people to continue doing that.
The Minister of Regional Development, however, urged citizens in the area to maintain a conducive atmosphere that will enable development to thrive.
You have to talk about peace before you talk about it. So, like I said, it's all about bringing the peace to the people of Ogoniland. And once the different groups start to operate together, there'll be peace and there'll be resolution of it, and every other thing will follow.
The meeting presents a big leap in the federal government's efforts to ensure the environment in Ogoniland is restored. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
We've been telling you about a civil society organization in Ogoniland that's been resisting the federal government's plan to resume oil production and exploration. Besides a lack of proper consultation with leaders of Ogoni community, the civil society group says the government must address the long-standing grievances over environmental degradation before it can begin to drill oil again. Ogoniland in the oil-rich Niger Delta region was at the heart of an acute air pollution due to unregulated oil exploration by local and international oil and gas giants like Shell. The resulting environmental degradation left vast lands and seas in Ogoni drenched in crude oil while robbing farmers and fishermen of their livelihoods. In 2011, the United Nations Environment Program said it could take up to 25 to 30 years to fully clean up Ogoni, and recommended an initial investment of $1 billion just for the first 5 years. But till date, a substantial part of the UNEP report has not been implemented. Now, civil society groups want the government to suspend all oil extraction plans until their concerns over the environment are addressed. They're also demanding a $1 trillion fund for cleanup. Nimubase, an environmental activist, joins me now to take a closer look at this story. He joins me from Lagos. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My first question to you is what you make of the federal government's plan to resume oil exploration in Ogoniland.
Thank you very much. I believe this is a very important issue that needs to be addressed at this time. The mere thought of going back to reopen the oil wells in Ogoniland raises a lot of questions. Number one is that the pollution that has been inflicted on that territory over the years has not been fully addressed. And in fact, in other parts of the Niger Delta, the continued pollution is not being addressed. And so opening up the oil wells that were closed in 1993 is a way of ignoring what has happened in that region. Because the UNEP report actually recommended that there should be decommissioning and removal of the decrepit facilities that the oil companies left in Ogoniland as part of the cleanup process. But that is not being done. If anyone opens up the oil wells, it's a negation of the fact, of the reality, that cleaning the environment is the first thing that needs to be done. I heard the president saying that people should forget about past grievance, but continued pollution is not a past grievance. Pollution is going on continuously, and we have all the evidence before us. Both the UNEP report and the Bayelsa State Oil and Environment Commission report of 2023. They're all there. They're out in the open.
So it's been 14 years since the UNEP report was released. How would you describe the cleanup so far?
The cleanup has been very interesting, and I like to refer to what is going on there as a classroom exercise, in the sense that...
A classroom, what did you say? What did you describe it as? A classroom what?
Classroom exercise. It's like a learning process, because there's nowhere else in the world that is as polluted as the Niger Delta. There's not a single place that has had this level of hydrocarbon pollution. And so there's actually no experience, nowhere to learn from. So it's a learning process. The question is whether we're learning well or we're not learning well. The report came out in 2011. This is 2025. And it's been long enough for the cleanup to have been concluded by now, but we're just entering a stage of taking on the complex sites. So there's still a lot to be done. And we believe that, some of us do believe that the government should actually be working to getting the very best expertise, whether they are from outside Nigeria or within the country. Because what we're talking about is about an environment that has been so devastated that living in that territory is just like having your life on life support.
What do you then make of the civil society groups' demand for a 1 trillion naira funding for cleanup, nearly halfway into the 30 years that UNEP report said it's going to take for Nigeria to be able to clean that place up properly?
The $1 trillion demand is not for cleanup of Ogoniland. It's for the the auditing and the cleaning up of the entire Niger Delta. Now, when UNEP recommended $1 billion, that was just to commence the cleanup.
Yes, that's right.
In about 5 years.
Yeah.
Clean up in about 5 years, and then work on to restore the environment over the next 25, 30 years. The Bayelsa report recommended starting off with $12 billion, but civil society are now saying $1 trillion for the entire Niger Delta, and it will take a lifetime, at least one lifetime, to clean up the Niger Delta.
So right now, what should the government be doing? Because if the people, the civil society groups in that region, in that community are saying, you haven't done enough. The last time oil exploration was done in our community, we suffered greatly. You want to come back and start drilling again. This is our demands. What do you think? How do you think the government should handle this?
I think the government is jumping over many things that ought to be done. The first thing that needs to be done is to recognize that the whole Niger Delta has been so badly polluted, and that government needs to show seriousness in cleaning up. If Ogoniland has been totally cleaned up, and we now say, okay, this has been done, it's cleaned up, we now want to reopen oil wells, and we're going to do it in a way that the pollution will not be repeated, then maybe people would listen and say, okay, how are you going to do it? Show us how you do it. Let's debate it. Let's talk about it. But that has not happened. And so, as people always say, You don't mop a floor and then open the tap to bring more water on the floor. It doesn't work.
Nimubasi, environmental activist, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us tonight. Welcome back. You're watching Tonight on News Central. I'm Adeshawa Josh. For nearly 2 weeks now, residents of Bukuma in Degema Local Government Area of Rivers State have been daily deserting their community following an explosion that resulted in a fire in OML 18 belonging to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. And the town people have been wondering why that has been happening. And it started from Monday to Thursday, and it's taking about 3,000 leaders from over 130 countries to begin to complain about the situation there.
Since this oil explodes here, even you can look the palm tree, the fruit, everything damaged, burnt finish. Women go fishing, nothing. Men go fishing, nothing we catch. This is my palo, this is my canoe, nothing we catch. Ordinary hand now with the carry come now. And nothing we go feed do now to eat. Please, may I tell the federal government to come and help us because we are dying.
When the spill occurred on the 18th of December, till the operators, we were told, came with a badge and a crane and wanted to do some further operations to contain it. That day, the 12th, there was an explosion. From that 12th of January up until this moment, you're still seeing the fire burning in full blast and escalated into the bushes. Cut farmlands, vegetations, residential homes, wildlife. The entire ecology and the ecosystem was charged with flame.
An inspection was carried out by NNPCL, and it was discovered that there was a leakage from 1st of December, and it wasn't taken care of. We were told just before the fire explosion, don't turn on your gas, you can't cook, you can't strike a match, because the entire atmosphere is charged, and any spark could just raise fire. So our source of livelihood through farming and fishing is all gone. 90% of the people in the community have evacuated themselves to safety.
As a result of this fire outbreak, many of us suffered the same different types of disease, sicknesses that affect our life, our last breath, and that some of us cannot breathe, some of us cannot eat because of the situation.
King Stephen Tobins is the paramount ruler of Bukuma.
I want the federal government, the state government, to contact the people, the NNPC who owns the oil, to take care of the people in Zion City and Bukuma and other satellite town in Bukuma, the 14 communities in Bukuma Island, in Agum, because there is no hospital here. The government has never provided any medical facilities in Bukuma. So the people will die soon. So immediate action should be taken.
The heat was so much that as if your skin wants to peel off. So the adverse medical effect is very obvious. The NNPC, do they not have conscience? See, we are talking about the life of human beings. Life comes first, then their livelihood, then the sustainability of the environment. It's sad that this thing is happening, and sometimes I just feel that some people feel that others ought not to be alive.
The Trade Union Congress of Nigeria has opposed the proposed increase in the value-added tax rate, as outlined in the federal government's tax reform bills, warning that the move could worsen the economic hardship that Nigerians are currently facing. The federal government proposed a phased VAT hike from the current 7.5% to 10%, 12.5%, and ultimately 15%, a move the union described as ill-timed and detrimental to the welfare of citizens already grappling with inflation, unemployment, and a soaring cost of living. Speaking during a press conference in Abuja on Tuesday, TUC President Festus Osifo says maintaining the VAT rate at 7.5% was crucial to safeguarding Nigerians from additional financial pressure. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has pledged to promote cultural exchange, tourism, and economic development between Nigeria and the African diaspora. Sanwo-Olu made the pledge during a courtesy visit by the chairperson of the Nigerian in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, and the African Ancestry Delegation led by Gina Page to the Lagos House, Ikeja, on Monday. The governor encouraged Africans in the diaspora to reconnect with their roots and heritage, assuring that his administration would support making the process seamless and transformative.
And our goal was to help Black people transform the way we view ourselves, not as victims of enslavement, but as the descendants of powerful nations, and to transform the way we view Africa.
They have descendants, particularly from Nigeria. And they don't want to just bam. They want to start seeing what home is like. And they want to start coming back home. They want to invest back home. They want to return to their motherland, to live here, not just as tourists.
And for us to use Lagos as a platform to tell not just the Nigerian story, but the real African story. To use Lagos as a bedrock where we can all come together, and fashion out a journey, a conversation for every Black person, be it in sports, be it in fashion, be it in music, be it in entertainment, be it in arts, culture, where the diversity that we have, brings us centrally together, where we all can fashion.
To security matters, residents of Awka, the capital of Anambra State, southeast Nigeria, are asking the state government to step up its efforts in tackling insecurity in the state. In the face of threats to their daily lives and businesses, they want a new security architecture to help stem the insecurity across the state. News Central's Chinwe Ughelli has the details.
Business hub to Awka, the capital of the state. The story of insecurity is the same. The people are not at peace in their own environment because of the threat of attack by men of the unknown.
We apologize for the glitch in that report. Moving on now, News Central earlier spoke with Valentine Ozibo, who took time out to highlight the security challenges the people of Anambra are facing.
Government of Bukuma, Soludo Charles, Professor, what is doing so far in Anambra State? We're not impressed because he's in his twilight of his third year now and about to commence a re-election, and suddenly he's waking up to a responsibility that ought to have been his utmost priority. And what we're seeing is a case where initially he started from blaming church and traditional institutions and agitators and all of this. And some of us were saying, stop the blame game, take ownership, show leadership, and also show the empathy that's required. One of the clauses of the new law actually requires the Agone Chamber operatives to be able to practically conduct arrests without warrants. It's not done. Before you actually go to anybody's house not to conduct any arrest, there has to be a warrant. This is what the Nigerian Constitution provides. Because how do you allege without any form of evidence or proof? You can't just do things and get away with them. It's only in a banana republic such happen. In Nigeria, people just feel they can get away with murder. Politicians just feel they can just do anything they want and get away with it. Governors, leaders, we've got to insist that there must be consequences for every action. When there are good actions, we must commend and amplify and reward. But when there are criminality, we must ensure. Imagine if a murder case happens in the US. Imagine the attention the entire government will place ensuring that the criminals...
All is not well with the residents of Okoma community in Ughelli, South Local Government Area of Delta State, following their return to the community after the killing of 17 soldiers on March the 14th last year and subsequent military reprisal that brought the community to ruins. 19 days on, News Central's correspondent Austin Azu visits the community and now reports.
7 months since the displaced Okwama indigents, who have been residing in the IDP camp in Otoewu, returned to their ancestral home to re-establish their lives, despite government assurances to hasten the resettlement and reintegration process, including the construction of a primary healthcare center, primary school, secondary school, and community hall. How has life been since their arrival back home?
At times, we do fishing or hooking. That is the only source we are feeding here now.
Now school have resumed. Most of the students are supposed to be in this school. Now there's no school to go. They'll be doing farming work.
A toll of the Okwama community, formerly devastated after the March 14 bloodbath, which claimed the lives of 17 soldiers and prompted a military reprisal attack, reveals returnees building makeshift and plank houses to shelter themselves and their leftover property.
Before God and man, since when I come off for the camp, IDP, till today I never sleep for house. Now bush I did.
There's no place for them to stay. And it's only person that he has more money who can be able to build a small plank house where he can put his head. That is the small thatched house and the plank house you have been seeing. Those that doesn't have money to do that, most of them sleep in outside when the night comes.
Here are the ongoing projects initiated by Governor Sheriff Oborewori over 6 months ago.
Imagine, I want to say that the state government still talk to the contractor they feel very big. He don't want to complete the job. More than four months now, not even there. I'm talking to you now, the contractor they're on site. Then you say the people to say, see the weather, the rainy season is coming any moment from now. People will stay outside for 3 months. After 3 months, they come back again, stay on that side again.
With the early rains approaching, these women appeal to the appropriate authorities to come to their rescue.
When they close the camp, we not get anywhere where we dey sleep. Now outside, now we with the children dey. Rain fall with day, sun they shine with day. Even food where we dey shop, no food. Hungry they kill us. Sufferness, mosquito, everything there we dey suffer.
Okwama community is an urban community in Ughelli South Local Government Area, located along the Focados River. It shares boundaries with Akubene and Okoloba communities, and both are Ijaw-speaking communities located in Bomadi Local Government Area of Delta State. In Okwama for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we'll give you the latest on the ongoing World Economic Forum in Davos. Do stay with us. Welcome back. The world's political and business leaders are in the Swiss resort town of Davos to discuss global challenges. They say this year's event, the 55th Annual Forum, which runs Monday to Thursday, will convene close to 3,000 leaders from over 130 countries, with the gathering demonstrating the critical need for dialogue in an increasingly uncertain era. Speaking at the event, Director General of the World Trade Organization made the case for a reset of global trade dynamics and the adoption of a pathway that engenders inclusion for the vulnerable.
There are 2 words we need to pay attention to in the IMF forecast with respect to the way it saw the economies of the world. One is divergent, and the other is uncertain. Certain supply chains and certain manufacturing. It's not normal that 90% of something like chips that the world needs is manufactured in one place, or 70% of minerals are processed in one country, or 80% of vaccines are exported from 10 countries. So how do we decentralize supply chains? How do we diversify? And business is actually doing this already, so that we can build resilience. At the WTO, we are promoting an instrument that will help countries strengthen their economies and attract investment to help this reglobalization, which can create jobs in place. I heard President von der Leyen saying the EU is actually moving in that direction of trying to promote local manufacturing, not just coming into countries, coming into Africa and extracting and taking away, but actually putting the supply chains on the ground. I think that will create jobs, make people stay in place instead of trying to migrate elsewhere, and create wealth. On the trade side, at any rate, it really increases productivity, lowers trade costs in such a way that we can have double-digit growth in trade, from now till 2040, about 14%, if we are able to adopt this in an even manner across the world. Of course, we have to deal with issues of the digital divide in developing countries, which we have to overcome. So let me just end by saying, look, openness and predictability of trade, maintaining the rules that have worked for us for so long is key. If we decide to fragment into 2 trading blocks, we've just done some simulations that show that doing that, 2 geopolitical trading blocks, and adding uncertainty of trade policy leads to a real loss in global GDP in the longer term of 6.4%.
Challenges of the last...
U.S. President Donald Trump has signed 40 executive orders at least since taking office on Monday. Among the signed executive orders are the recognition of only 2 sexes in the United States, male and female, by the federal government, restoring of death penalty in the U.S., securing the United States borders, halting of automatic United States citizenship for those born in the U.S., withdrawal of the U.S. from the World Health Organization, and granting of pardons for January 6 rioters, as well as pulling out of Paris Climate Agreement, among others. And as part of the sweeping crackdown on both undocumented and legal immigrants, U.S. President Donald Trump also signed an executive order on Monday trying to end the right to citizenship for some children born in the U.S. Now, several civil rights organizations, including the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, have filed lawsuits challenging President Trump's order. Let's take a closer look at what the U.S. birthright citizenship entails and what withdrawing it would mean for residents of African descent. In 1866, the U.S. ratified the 14th Amendment to allow black descendants of enslaved people have unrestricted right to citizenship in the U.S. until the law was passed, only while Americans had such rights. Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship could make it difficult for children born in the U.S. without at least one parent who is a lawful permanent resident or U.S. citizen to become an American citizen. The Citizenship Clause is part of the U.S. Constitution, the nation's founding document. Now, legal experts suggest Trump might need to amend the Constitution in order to remove the guarantee of birthright citizenship for those born on U.S. soil. From Lagos to share his perspective on what the executive order on birthright citizenship means for Americans and, of course, Africans, I am now being joined by God Bless Otubere, a 2019 Mandela Washington Fellow and the founder of Ready to Lead Africa. I know you are not joining us from Lagos.
I was a little bit, when you said Lagos, I was like, okay, great.
All right, so where are you joining us from?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Say that again?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Thank you for joining us from Washington, D.C. My first question is, how does this executive order even affect, first of all, Americans of African descent? And then you can tell us what the broader implications would be for Africans. And I'll tell you why I'm saying Africans after your answer.
Well, I mean, Americans of African descent do not have a problem with this. They are U.S. citizens already. They're born here. Their parents are
all
Americans.
of them.
Go ahead.
Are you saying that Africans or Americans who perhaps have kids still outside of the country who want to come in and apply for their citizenship would not be affected by this?
So let's be clear. The executive order that Donald Trump has just signed, has not taken effect yet, even if it's going to even succeed in the first place. You need a 30 days period from when it is signed to have effect. So that's the first thing. Second, the 14th Amendment, which you alluded to, cannot be changed by an executive order. So, as I speak to you, the Attorney General from California to New Jersey have filed lawsuits challenging it. And look, Trump would need 2/3 of members of Congress, both the House and the Senate.
And he controls, and the Republicans control both the House and the Senate. So I guess getting a 2/3 would not be a problem.
No, it would be a problem because I don't think it's every Republican who supports what he has done. So again, when we say you can like what somebody does here and don't like what they do here, it's possible. I can like what you're doing right now and don't like what you're doing later on. And it's not impossible for me to draw that line. And I think that to have 2/3 in both houses, you would definitely need a lot of people just abandoning their principles of what the founding documents or what the founding ideas of America is. And again, I wanted to add this, that you need 2/3 states to ratify that, and I don't see that happening. And again, let's get to the Supreme Court and see what the judges will say, because the interpretation of the 14th Amendment so far has been that anyone born in the United States, even though it did say subject that are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, and that is what the minority guys on the right are arguing, that what it means is you have to be a subject of the United States for that particular clause to apply to you. And so this is just a test of, our wordings. Yeah, go ahead, please.
God bless. Let us look at how this might affect birth tourism, which is a big deal in Africa. A lot of middle class, upper middle class Nigerians, as well as Africans in general, go to the United States to have children so that they can secure those kids' citizenship, protect their future, if you like. For many of these families, this is a big deal. And I've been hearing from some of them, a lot of people are panicking. Is this the end? Will we still be able to go to the United States to have children? And by virtue of having them there, make them citizens. What is your thought about this? If this pulls through, if Trump pulls through with repealing birthright citizenship, automatic because you were born in the United States, what does that mean for birth tourism?
Well, look, I think this is a wake-up call to every other citizen of the world out there. The United States is an exceptional country. Of course, that's why you have the U.S. exceptionalism. There are things that happen in the U.S. that don't happen anywhere else. And the U.S. has been in that position where everybody else looks up to it, where it has created a society where, irrespective of where you are from, you have a shot at the good life, just being a citizen or being a permanent resident, right? But what this is also telling other people is, you've got to make your place better. You've got to find a way to ensure that you are not putting the idea of success or securing futures in the hand of another country. But that said, it would definitely impact birth tourism. But look at it. Birth tourism is, at best, it gives citizenship, right? But it costs a lot of money for people to do that. Look at what you said, the upper class and middle class, right? Because it's not accessible to people at the lower rung of the ladder. So you realize that though the country is actually making money from the process, now you see the country saying, not the country, you have a leader of the country saying, no, we want to end this practice. Because again, it's not happening outside of, there are variables to it. It's not happening outside of a vacuum, right? There are things that have led to the thinking that, you know what, we need to stop this because maybe it's not helping us. And there are things that I probably cannot say on air. That are some of the information that we have based on, what we know.
Thanks, God bless. Because I also do know that in 2022, there was a U.S. State Department report on how B2 visas are being used by mothers who are trying to give birth and flying to the States to have their kids, and then by virtue of that, they get citizenship for them. So there was a lot of tightening up of the visa processes and all of that, and one wonders what's going to happen on the President Trump. We'll keep an eye on the story as we move on. Thank you so much. God bless Otubere, President Ready to Lead Africa, for making out time to join us tonight.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
Well, let's take a break again. When we come back, we'll take a look at business and sports stories. Don't go away. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's time for business news, and Adebola from our business desk joins us with the latest. Adebola, what do we have tonight?
Well, in business, Portugal plans to increase, of course, liquefied natural gas, from Nigeria and United States. And this is due to EU sanctions following Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. And this is basically to ensure that they don't import anything regarding oil and gas through streamlined pipelines. Right. I'll tell you more after the break.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
In business, Portugal plans to boost its liquefied natural gas (LNG) import from the United States and Nigeria to lessen dependence on dwindling Russian supplies, according to Environment Minister Maria da Graça Caval. In 2024, Portugal imported 49,141 gigawatts per hour of natural gas, with about 96% as LNG, 51% from Nigeria, 40% from the United States, and roughly 4.4% from Russia. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the EU imposed sanctions on Russian oil and gas through LNG imports by ship remain unaffected. Cavallo stressed the importance of EU cooperation for energy and independence and mentioned challenges in achieving price stability due to supply-side inflation. On Tuesday, South Africa's rand weakened against a strong U.S. dollar following President Donald Trump's inauguration and policy announcement. Now by 15:32 GMT, the rand was trading at 18.53 per dollar, down about 0.1% from its previous close, despite a 1% gain on Monday. The dollar was approximately 0.2% stronger against a basket of currencies. Treasury specialist Adam Phillips recommended waiting for Trump's government to be fully established before making tariff decisions. On Tuesday, Angola's central bank decided to keep its main interest rate at 19.50% for the fourth consecutive meeting, as inflation continues to decline but remains above 27% annually. Now, the Bank of Angola previously held its rate during meetings in July, September, and November. Central Bank Governor Mano Tiago Diaz stated that while prices for goods and services are still high, there is noticeable slowdown in both monthly and year-on-year inflation since its peaked in mid-2024. He also projected that the economy grew by 4.4% last year and expects growth of 3.5% for 2025. That does it for business news tonight.
The 2025 African Cup of Nations draw is set for Monday, 27th of January in Morocco. That's on sports news, and Favor is standing by with the latest. Favor?
Yeah, interesting times ahead in African football as we look forward to the draws. Don't forget, Nigeria are finished in the finals of the 2023 AFCON. No thanks to Cote d'Ivoire, who won the trophy as the host. Many more after this timeout.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
And in sport, Lagos is set to host the inaugural World Boxing Council African Boxing Union Amateur Boxing Tournament, bringing together 52 boxers from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Nigeria. The tournament will take place from the 6th of February to the 8th, 2025 at the Bola Tinubu Thomas Indoor Sports Hall of the Teslim Balogun Stadium. The knockout-style tournament will serve as a qualifier for the WBC Amateur Boxing World Cup in Mexico later this year. Winners in each weight category will be awarded medals, while the most valuable boxers in both male and female categories will claim prestigious WBC belts. Speaking today at the Media Palace, CEO and Technical Director of the organizers Yucateco Boxing Promotions Omole Imadu and Babatunde Laguda both emphasized the event's potential to boost Nigerian boxing.
A total of 52 boxers will participate in WBC ABU tournament, and as of this given moment as I speak, we've been able to confirm 22 boxers coming from outside the country. why we have 30 in Nigeria, but the number is expected to increase before weekend, before we close the registration. So, well, when we say an eligibility for them to participate in the World Cup, virtually, be it whether you are from Nigeria or you're from other countries, for as much as you excel, you happen to be in the finalists. That is an automatic qualification, right, for you to be invited into the World Cup.
And now to football. The final draw for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations will take place in Rabat, Morocco on Monday, January 27th, where the 24 competing teams will learn their opponents. 6 groups will be formed, with each containing 4 countries, and the top 2 teams in each group, along with the 4 best third-place sides, will advance to the round of 16. In addition to the draw, participating countries will have the opportunity to access match venues, training facilities, and hotel infrastructure in Morocco ahead of the competition. The competition will run from Sunday, December 21st, 2025 to January 18th, 2026. Nigeria's Super Eagles finished as runners-up at the 2023 AFCON, with hosts Côte d'Ivoire winning the title. And that's it on Sports News tonight. Entertainment is up next.
I'm smiling because it's entertainment news time on the show tonight. And you were telling me that South African comedian Trevor Noah is back as the host of Grammy for the 5th time.
I know, I'm as excited as you are. 5th consecutive year, and he's also going to be producing the entire show as well. I mean, he's funny, so we're expecting a lot of good laughs.
Sam, everybody, is going to be
we're
telling
going to
us
give
more.
you all the big details after this quick break.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
All right, now in entertainment. Now, we witnessed the Recording Academy's support during the California wildfire, pledging $1 million in relief. Now, although the catastrophic effects of the fire affected setting smaller Grammy events, it seems that things are getting back to full swing. Now, we got the news today that South African-born, Emmy-winning comedian Trevor Noah will return as the official host for the 5th consecutive year, which is incredible. Now, Trevor Noah would also serve as a producer of the Grammys this year. Now, the 67th Grammy Award ceremony will be held at the Crypto Arena in Los Angeles on the 2nd of February, so we don't have to wait too long. Now, this year's show is particularly towards raising additional funds to support the wildfire relief efforts. Now, this one makes me happy because we've seen a lot of people get up and rise up in such a trying time to support, Los Angeles after all that, they've been through with the fire.
I know.
And to see that the Grammys will then carry this along and contribute more money just shows the power of good music.
Absolutely.
Now, something more controversial. Well, finally, after months of legal battle, controversial Nigerian music, or should I say musician, Speed Darlington, has been arrested, released now, because we followed through that he was arrested. Now he's been released from Kuje prison in Abuja, as announced by his lawyer. Now, people are talking about this because they posted pictures, and it's exciting news for many. Now, following his arrest in November last year, after a performance in Owerri for alleged defamation of fellow musician, African giant Burna Boy. Now, from what we know, he was released after meeting bail conditions by the Federal High Court in Abuja. Now, his lawyers also revealed that they will be exploring every angle of the law to ensure they get justice, claiming that he was deprived of his fundamental human rights and was subject to unjust treatment by the Nigerian police. This one, I mean, because a lot of people were talking about this, certain things that he said shouldn't have warranted him being taken away, locked up for so long, and Burna Boy doesn't seem to regret that.
Sometimes it depends on who you say those things to.
It really does. But a defamatory is, once you say such a thing without being sure, or someone can claim that it affected their image, well, you're going to...
And if there's proof.
Well, that's Watch Entertainment. My name is Sam Dandy.
Thanks, Sam. That's all we have time for tonight. But before we go, here's a recap of our top stories. Stakeholders condemn proposed resumption of oil production in Ogoniland, demand talks with community leaders. Trade Union Congress of Nigeria kicks against planned hike in value-added tax rate as outlined in a tax reform bill. President Donald Trump executive orders on Central Americans as civil groups challenge plan to end birthright citizenship. And that's the news tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, AVO TV, and YouTube. Thanks again for watching and for staying with us. I am Adeshewa Josh. I'll see you tomorrow.